right, my beautiful family. So for those that don't know, I am a registered dietitian and I'm working on my PhD and planning to do research when it comes to identifying barriers to behavior change, when it comes to why people find it so hard to long term eat healthy and exercise. So, as part of my PhD, getting ready for my first research project, I've been reading so many research papers on behavior change. And I just read this paper. It's like an annual psychology review paper about behavior change. Identifying, they were talking about like what are things that people could do that are science based that have been effective. And I wrote down 10 things that I think you're going to like because I break them down to very simple ways for you to understand. And a lot of these things might be a reminder, but at least it's a reminder, like a psychological reminder that sometimes it's good for us to know, even if you think that you're not going to take action right now in this moment. Just knowing that certain psychological factors play a role with how successful or how confident you feel you're going to be when you embark on a behavior change. So, just having this in mind is going to be helpful for you to know. So, thing number one, something that has been identified that plays such a big role in whether people continue with behavior change long term is if they truly believe that it will benefit them. If if they don't think that it's going to benefit them long term, or they don't sit down and think about how it's going to benefit their life, in if they don't feel like it's going to benefit them enough, then it might be that people will actually start the change, but it might not last that long. But when people really find a meaning to how they feel this change is going to affect them and they find meaning, they're more likely to engage with it long term. So just something to remember. Really sit down and think about why are you wanting to eat healthy? Why do you want to exercise? If you just say, "Oh, I want to exercise because I want to be healthy." If you're a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, that really doesn't mean nothing to you because you're healthy already. You're 30 years old. You're healthy. Maybe if you're a 65-year-old that maybe is starting to experience chronic conditions, then being healthy might be something more meaningful. So I say that because if you're a 20-year-old, maybe thinking about, oh, I want to improve my health, maybe that's not something that really is going to move you. Think about something that has meaning to you. So, thing number two is you have to think about what is your current capacity that you have, whether it's like with your current schedule, lifestyle, how many responsibilities you have in life. Like, how much willpower can you apply to this behavior change that you want to do? And so, really think about how much capacity do you have? For example, if you are a mother that has 2 kids, 3 kids, and really want to start going to the gym, You might not be able to go to the gym 5 days a week, 6 times a week. Like somebody younger that doesn't have kids, they could go 5 times, 6 times. So if somebody younger that has no kids might be like, I want to go 6 times a week to the gym. Maybe their capacity is high. They could do it. But you have to sit down and be like, no, I can't, like with my schedule. So we have to be realistic. So we have to acknowledge where our capacity is at that moment and plan according to how much capacity we have. Because aligning that will help us make sure that our behavior change is long term. Thing number 3 that they find in this research is how much the unconscious plays a role in how successful people are in behavior change. And let me explain. There was a study done where there was smokers. They looked at smokers that their attitude, which is kind of unconscious. You don't think so much about this is my attitude today, right? It's just like your attitude on certain things, how you think about certain things. And what they saw, that smokers that wanted to quit, that didn't think smoking was that bad, were less likely to be able to quit smoking, which has changed that behavior. But smokers that really believe that I can't stop smoking, but it is bad. I know it's bad. Having that attitude, knowing that something is bad, more increase the chances of those smokers to actually have the behavior change long term. So sometimes we got to think about how important is this behavior change I want to do. It's like, think about why eating healthy and exercising is so important to you, or what's your approach on certain things. Are you like, do you not care about, like, if somebody tells you you have to go to the gym, it's like, if you don't want to go to the gym, then maybe that's not the best approach for you to increase your physical activity. Maybe your attitude on being more physically active is, I see running as a better physical activity. Then running might be what you want to do. So choose something that you enjoy and that your attitude is positive towards. Another one is something called implementation intention. And what implementation intention means is that we know that having a high intention, meaning I want to start working out, I really want to start eating healthier, that high intention has a higher chance of leading to the behavior change than somebody that doesn't have an intention to change. But we got to remember, intention is just a thought that you want to do this. And sometimes that intention doesn't actually lead to action. So there's something called implementation intention, meaning that a perfect example, you could apply it however you want in your life, but let me give you an example of what that would mean. You intend that you want to go work out. Set a plan, write it down, even though you might not take action that Monday. But sit down and write that plan. And maybe that plan is for you to start that in the new year or in 2 months. But write the plan of how you would go about it. And actually have implementing a plan of that intention has a higher chance of maybe actually you writing down the plan and maybe starting sooner. Or maybe writing it down and be like, you know what, actually, I could actually start today. So just keep that in mind. Intentions are important, but maybe even set a plan, sit down and write a plan. Even though if you don't take action on it, just write it down. And maybe you'll find yourself thinking, you know what? This is actually doable. Let me actually start it. Another one is know that our environment, physical environment, social environment is going to play a role. We know that we have, not that we have, we know that it's up to us to make a change. Nobody could do it for us. We know it's up to us. But we gotta know that even though at the end of the day, the decision is up to us, our environment plays a role. If we have unhealthy food in the house, chips in the house, it's easier to be tempted. So know that setting up an environment that is going to set you up for success is important. Another one could be knowing, maybe just talking to people about your fitness goals that you know that are going to support you. And maybe it's hanging out with people that are being more active. I can't think of another example at the moment, but I think the one was that environment. Set yourself up where you know anywhere you go is going to only push you forward towards the behavior change that you want. And then one thing that I also want to mention is on habits. How habits, I wanted to say habits over motivation. And the reason I want to say habits over motivation is that sometimes motivation is going to be very important, right? If you're motivated to make a change, use that. But it's important to have these habits in place, because eventually when you have these habits in place, and I'm going to give you an example of a habit, it makes things easier even when motivation is low. So for example, my schedule changed these last 6 months and I just got way more busier. So I knew I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to make sure that I got everything done through my week. There are certain days during the week where I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. because I don't have to be at meetings that early. But I still wake up at 4 a.m. because I got so much into that habit that I don't want to break it, because I just feel in control that I have this habit. It's just, I know I got to wake up, and no matter how I feel, I wake up. And it's just less energy for my body when I continue to keep that habit. And so the important thing is build habits that just become natural, because your body is going to do things when it takes less energy. So if you have something in place that you do every day, it's going to become second nature, which is less energy for your body and your mind, that it's easier to do. So create habits, even if you're not motivated for it, but just stick to them, and eventually it's going to take less willpower. Another thing is, we know that there's certain traits that people are born with, such as like traits of like people are just born to be, or they're more organized and they have more self-control and OCD. You know, you hear people, certain traits that sometimes are helpful for people. And sometimes we don't have personality traits that might benefit you. But one thing that I like to think about is like there's a trait, a personality trait of like people having self-control. They're more organized, self-control. And I don't feel like I am a person that has a lot of self-control, but I think how I build more self-control is because I feel like everybody could think about something in their life where they have order. Like, you know what? I am a good mother. I am a good mom in that I wake up my kids and dress them up and dress them up, make their lunch and take them to school every single day. You know what? I am pretty organized. You might not be thinking of that. You might be thinking I have no self-control because I'm all over the place. But waking up your kids in the morning, dressing them up, making their lunch and taking them to school, that is organization, self-control. And then you might think, that I do have self-control. Maybe I could apply it to this behavior change that I want to do. So think about the personality traits that you have that are positive and see how you could apply that to the behavior change that you want to do. One thing that is so important as well is when setting goals, it was found that stable goals, meaning that goals that a person perceives that they could hold long term, actually increase the chances. And let me explain what a stable goal is. If you tell somebody to work out, say, you know what, we're going to work out 6 times a week for the next 3 months. That might not sound like a stable goal because a person might be like, ooh, 6 days? Damn, what about if I have to do something on Saturday and Sunday? That throws it off. So setting up a stable goal could be like, okay, you're only going to work out twice a week. A person might be like, that sounds like a pretty stable goal. I could do 2 days. If I don't go Monday or Tuesday, I could go Wednesday. If I don't go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I could go Thursday and Friday. So it sounds stable. So we know that setting new goals and having the behavior change of being more active or eating more healthy is already hard. So don't make it more harder. Set easier goals, which are stable goals, because that is going to help you continue that. And over time, they're going to become easier and you could increase the amount of time that you go to the gym or the more healthy food that you eat. But start with easier, aka stable goals. And the last thing that I'm going to say is sometimes we have to fake it. We have to fake it until we make it. And what I mean by that is that you have to have positive thoughts of what are some positive thoughts that you're going to have from this behavior change. And think about something that is for you. So you could say like, oh, how good I'm going to feel when I finish my workout. If you think that, oh my God, this workout's going to be painful, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. But if you think, you know what, I like how I feel when I finish my workout. When you finish the workout, you're going to feel better. Or you're more likely to go to the gym because you know you're going to feel better after. Another thing could be like, oh man, I'm going to eat healthy and eat and exercise because I'm going to lose weight. And when I lose weight, I know I'm going to feel way better. So just having these positive thoughts of you taking these actions of eating healthy or being more physically active and coupling them with positive thoughts that how more confident you're going to feel, how more attractive you're going to feel to the opposite sex. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a hot girlfriend or a hot boyfriend because I'm going to look better. It's going to motivate you. So think positive thoughts with that behavior change. All right, family. So that's it. I hope you found these tips helpful. And if you like them, please give me a thumbs up. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.